generally, if you got a pregnant woman, she's struggling, especially if she's by herself, because she can't move around. She can't stay on her feet for long amounts of hours. So it ain't like she can work like it's regular. So she's at a disadvantage already if she ain't got no man. That's why women need to fucking be submissive and act like fucking women and act right. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Keep your man. Shit.
Disclaimer: these are all.
That's Jericho opinions. I believe in y'all.
It's gotta be tough being a single parent. Even more tough being a single mother. Welcome back to the Jahmad Show. And I know you might be asking, Rakif, what do you know about being a single mom? Nothing. But I do have an interesting perspective from a young woman that I was hanging out with. I consider a friend. Take that with a grain of salt. I was talking to her and she expressed to me how difficult it was being a single mom, raising children by yourself, and being previously married. Obviously, that wasn't her intent, and the weight of all of that responsibility loaded onto her. And she broke down crying in front of me. And I tried my best to console, but it's hard to relate as a single man. But I think it's very interesting from a man's perspective of how that situation can affect the household. So I asked the great cast of Chess Not Checkers that exact question. Take a listen. So let me ask y'all this, man. How does it feel like from your perspective of when you have these you have women out here actually taking on what I would call, in my opinion, more masculine roles and want to be more independent, and how that affects not only the relationship but maybe the household, and whether it's a positive or a negative.
Mm-hmm. You can be feminine and be a boss. You know what I'm saying? You can be sexy and be a boss. You don't have to be. I think a boss is viewed as one way. You know what I'm saying? Like we talked about earlier with changing that mindset with young CEO and this shit. It's like it don't have to be like that. I think a lot of women see that and say, okay, I have to be hard, I have to be take no shit. I think we all gotta be that. That's just characteristic. You know what I'm saying? That's a characteristic of us all. But I think women can still be sexy and be a boss.
I think that comes from an era of single mothers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Having to be strong.
Keep that thought, but do you feel like that's just black culture?
I would say black women are more overly masculine.
Okay.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They're more aggressive.
Yeah. So you think it has a lot to do with our culture also?
Yeah, for sure.
And how it
is, I mean, it's mostly black communities that are single mothers.
So I'm gonna pose a question to y'all that we may not be able to answer, but if you could, what's the solution to that issue, if there is one? Man, is there any fixing it? Or are we just stuck, you feel like?
Well, I think just changing the spectrum of it. I think Beyonce doing that, Rihanna doing that. Rihanna at the Super Bowl pregnant. It's like it's changing that you don't have to be pregnant and sitting at home being a housewife. You can be pregnant and on stage making millions, you know what I'm saying, doing your thing.
You could be a woman, you could be
do your
a
thing.
Mama, you could be a wife and still
be bossed up. I think it's changing. Like we got to change the mindset of it.
Yeah. Do you feel like a lot of, because I know you kind of disagree, do you feel like a lot of people, because that's the outlier, right?
Yeah.
Those people. Generally speaking, do you feel like women even grasp that concept? Do they see it? Or you feel like, even though it's right there in front of our face and you were able to acknowledge it, is that something that you feel like is being overlooked?
What?
The fact that you see somebody like Rihanna or Beyonce or somebody who's pregnant right in front of the world, but still being a performer, being
Give
a
you
superstar.
100%, yeah.
You know what I mean?
But that ain't real life. That's Rihanna.
That's the outlier, right?
You know what I'm saying?
But it's motivation.
That's real life, though.
It's inspiration.
It's not real life, dude.
It's like she a real person. But that's what I'm saying. Like, we think that Rihanna is fantasy. No, it's like we gonna be there. I expect myself to be there soon.
Rihanna is
on
a
that level.
billionaire.
She is a billionaire. So is Beyonce.
But we gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? It took
Us.
to get there.
Yes.
Yeah, but we talking
But
about
we talking about,
pregnant
like,
woman.
okay.
Like on generally, if you got a pregnant woman, she's struggling, especially if she's by herself, because she can't move around. She can't stay on her feet for long amounts of hours. So it ain't like she can work like it's regular. So she's at a disadvantage already if she ain't got no man. That's why women need to fucking be submissive and act like fucking women and act right. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Keep your man. Shit.
Disclaimer: these are all.
That's Jericho opinions. I believe in y'all.
Nah, real shit though. Like, I do agree with a lot of that, but
I
at the same time, so I'm gonna piggyback and try to change the subject. When was the last time? I don't care if it's your grandmother, if it's your mama, if it's your wife or your girl, if it's your sister or cousin. When's the last time that you got into an actual heated disagreement with that individual that just so happened to be a woman that was close to you, regardless of the relationship, and she was dead wrong, and she apologized?
I just want to reiterate, digress, that niggas be fucking up too.
Oh yeah,
So,
of course.
it's a lot of niggas out there that ain't doing what they supposed to do.
But I will say, although I'm gonna piggyback on what you're saying, cause I'm also say this. That's true. Well, it's a lot of dudes that are making wrong decisions, making plenty of mistakes. But how many times have you said sorry already in your relationship?
And
how many times? And we can just narrow it down a relationship if you really want to.
I feel like I feel like for men there's a certain amount of stoicism that comes in your part of the relationship where you can take onus to, doing something maybe you miss wrong, or maybe she feel bad because she's the more sensitive one in the relationship. So you're gonna be more likely to say sorry if you're that type of dude and you want to keep the peace in your home.
So what is that about? What does that say though? And that's the question I think I really want to ask.
Well, not to cut you off, but you can argue your point. That's not to say that you can't argue your point. Like you can still argue your point and still be like, hey, all right, I see it from your perspective. I'm sorry if that offended you.
Yeah.
In some shape, form, or fashion, but this is why.
Right. This is how I think.
did. You know what I'm saying?
So
but unfortunately, it comes with an explanation.
I'm gonna throw a curveball in there, even though this was a curveball in itself. Are women wrong for not apologizing to men?
They gotta work on it for sure. They gotta work on it for sure. That's something I stand on. Like, if we wrong, let's apologize. Like Cuz just said, he hit it right on the head. As a man, we come back and say, look, my bad for saying it how I said it, but this is how I feel. This is why I said it that way. You gotta understand that.
And you gotta understand, men, we love women. If we're in love with a woman, we love them unconditionally.
Yeah. That's why I'm putting up with you like this.
Women love us conditionally, I feel like. And I feel like if you're in a relationship with a chick, let's say y'all been together 5-6 years, and you ain't doing nothing, she gonna get rid of you. It's a wrap. Right. You out of here.
Right.
It don't matter. There ain't enough love in the world that's gonna keep her around you if you're not doing shit.
Exactly.
Contributing. If the roles were reversed and she ain't had shit going on, you gonna be like, you know what I'm saying? It's cool what you got going on today. Whoop, whoop, whoop. But you still gonna pay the bills and take care of everything.
Right.
And really not even throw it in her face. If the roles were reversed and she was the one taking care of everything, women get evil when they got money, when they in power, when they running shit in the house. You know what I'm saying?
I firmly believe this, man. And I'm gonna kind of go back, but I think when you look at, you could take our relationship, for example, right? Even if there's a disagreement, there's typically a certain level of respect there that usually is not crossed, right? A lot of times, more often than not in relationships,
They say cross.
it's crossed like a motherfucker.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Right?
That's a good point.
You know what
That's
I'm saying?
a good point. Yeah.
So that's the point where I'm like, okay, well, Is it the fact that we're not leading with respect value first when it comes to our women, and vice versa, the women looking at us like, okay, I respect this man like I would respect my brother. Or I respect this man like I respect my cousin or my father, you know, because they feel like you're expendable, or we feel like each other are expendable, or what
I think it's ego. I think it's a lot of ego.
Like pride.
Yeah, pride and ego, you know, run lane to lane, because it's like you say something, now I want to get one up.
Right.
You done hit me with this shit, and then I'm finna hit you with, well, you did this, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I think a lot of it got to do with the ego and the pride of it, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Wanting to be right, wanting to get one up. That's where it leads to, and that's where, like Cuz said, at the end of the day, as a man, you start thinking like, damn, I ain't had to take it that far. I ain't had to say that. You know what I'm saying? I could have kept it back a little bit, even though I know she said this. So I think it's a lot of ego. We got to put our ego at the door a lot of times.
Women are more emotional than we are.
Right.
We're going to look at things a little bit more logical, and we're probably going to be like, all right, she's just tripping. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Let me de-escalate this shit so we can move on and get to the next stage or next phase of what we're trying to do today. Right. Type shit. You know what I'm saying?
I love those guys. Obviously, they're family. But I think they had a very interesting take on what that relationship and what that aspect looks like, especially from a man's perspective. Obviously, every situation is going to be different. Every relationship is going to be different. Every man and person, human being, woman, all of that is going to be different. But I think it's dope to see these different perspectives from our side, women's side, and I think it creates and opens up that lane for conversation to be had. We completely understand everybody's not going to agree, but that's what this is about, right? It's opening that line of communication so we can understand each other a little bit more. So I think these conversations are very important, and I love to have them. I think they need to be had. So if you feel any type of way, whether you agree or disagree, please leave some comments down below. Thank you so much to the great cast of Chess Not Checkers. I love them boys and support them in what they're doing. All of their information will be down in the description. And as always, like, comment, share, subscribe. We love to have you over here, man. If you like the setup, all those links are also down in the description. And as always, we're going to keep the ball rolling. Go check out the JahmadShow.com, man. Got a lot of great merch. Support the show. Because of y'all, I'm going to be doing more things like this, right? So I'm bringing this element to y'all. Y'all been asking for it. Obviously, the show is growing, and it's because of you. So thank you very, very much. As always, love. Peace.